The night didn't end when she put the phone down. It lingered. It followed her into the kitchen, into the shower, into the bed where sleep refused to come easy. Every time she closed her eyes, the same sentence replayed in her mind. You still moving like time owes you something? She stared at the ceiling long after the city outside had softened into a quieter version of itself. The building settled. The lights across the street dimmed. Somewhere below, laughter dissolved into silence. But inside her, something stayed awake. By morning, she hadn't decided anything. She got up anyway. Routine had always been her armor. She moved through the apartment with practiced efficiency, shower steaming, espresso machine humming, soft instrumental music filling the space just enough to keep the thoughts from getting too loud. She dressed carefully, not for comfort, but for control. Clean lines, neutral tones, the kind of outfit that told the world she had her life together. If only they knew. She checked her phone once. No new messages. She didn't know whether to feel relieved or disappointed. The day unfolded like it always did. Meetings, calls, polite smiles, strategic conversations where everyone spoke but no one really said anything. She nodded when appropriate, laughed when expected, contributed when necessary. But underneath it all, her attention kept drifting, back to that number, back to that invitation. Same spot. She hadn't asked what that meant, because she already knew. By late afternoon, clouds rolled in, heavy and gray, muting the city's shine. Rain streaked down the glass walls of her office, blurring the skyline into something almost abstract. The weather matched her mood more than she cared to admit. At exactly 6:17 p.m., she closed her laptop. She sat there for a moment longer than usual, fingers resting on the desk, pulse steady but deliberate. This was the moment. Go home or don't. She stood. The spot hadn't changed. Same rooftop lounge, same low lighting, same velvet seating arranged like private conversations waiting to happen. The kind of place where money spoke quietly and everyone pretended not to notice who mattered. She arrived 10 minutes early. Of course she did. She chose a seat near the edge where the city opened up beneath them, ordered sparkling water, and waited. She didn't look around too much. Didn't want to seem nervous. He arrived without announcement. No dramatic entrance, no scanning the room. He just appeared beside the table like he'd always been part of the scenery. Still early, I said. He said, voice calm, familiar in a way that stirred something uncomfortable in her chest. She looked up slowly. He looked the same, and not at all. Same confident posture, same measured presence, but there was something quieter about him now. Less urgency, more control. You didn't have to come, he added, sliding into the seat across from her. I know, she replied. They sat in silence for a few seconds. Not awkward, loaded. Finally, she spoke. Why now? He leaned back slightly, eyes steady on her. Because you're standing at a fork you keep pretending isn't there. She exhaled through her nose. You don't know anything about my life anymore. A corner of his mouth lifted. Not a smile, recognition. I know your patterns, he said. And I know when you start building walls instead of bridges. That hit. She took a sip of water to buy time. The city shimmered beneath them, unaware that something delicate was being pulled apart above it. You reached out, she said. What do you want? He studied her for a moment longer than necessary. Honesty, he said finally, from both of us. She almost laughed. Honesty now? She asked. After all this time? Yes, he said. Because we didn't fail from lack of feelings. We failed from avoidance. The word landed heavy between them. Avoidance. She looked away, watching cars glide through wet streets far below. That chapter is closed, she said quietly. Is it? He asked. She turned back to him. That's not fair, she said. You don't get to reopen doors you helped shut. He nodded once. You're right. I don't. Then he leaned forward. But you do. Her breath caught. There it was, the thing she'd been pretending not to feel. This wasn't about him coming back. This was about her standing still. They talked for hours, not about the past, not directly. They talked about where life had taken them, about success that didn't taste the way it looked, about ambition that outgrew relationships, about choices that made sense at the time, until time passed. He didn't try to convince her of anything. That was the dangerous part. When she finally checked the time, it was well past midnight. She stood first. This changes nothing, she said. I know, he replied, but it changes something. She didn't argue, because she felt it too. The trip wasn't planned. That was the problem. 2 days later, she found herself staring at a boarding pass she didn't remember booking until after she'd done it. A girl's trip. That's what she told herself. A break, sun, water, noise, distraction, anything but thinking. The resort was everything social media promised and more. White stone architecture, infinity pools melting into the ocean, music drifting from cabanas like temptation. The air smelled like salt and money. Her friends were already in vacation mode. Laughter too loud, drinks too colorful, expectations blissfully low. For the first day, she let herself disappear into it. Late mornings, long swims, conversations that didn't matter. But the second night, something shifted. They were at a rooftop party when she saw him. Not him, someone else. Someone who looked familiar enough to stop her breath. Same build, same confidence, but different. He caught her staring and smiled, not flirtatious, curious. Later, as the music slowed and the group dispersed, he approached. You look like someone who's running from something, he said lightly. She raised an eyebrow. Is that your opening line? He chuckled. No, it's an observation. She surprised herself by smiling back. They talked, not deeply, not meaningfully, but easily. And ease, she realized, was something she hadn't felt in a long time. That night, back in her room, she lay awake listening to the waves crash rhythmically against the shore. 2 paths, one unresolved, one unexpected, and the unsettling realization that she might not be as certain about herself as she thought. Her phone buzzed, a message from a number she hadn't saved, but didn't need to. Hope you're finding what you need. She stared at the screen. Then slowly, she locked the phone and placed it face down. Outside, the ocean kept moving, and for the first time in a long while, so did she. The movement didn't feel freeing, it felt dangerous. That night, sleep came in fragments, broken by dreams she couldn't fully remember but woke from with her heart racing. By morning, the ocean outside her balcony looked calmer than she felt inside. She woke to her phone vibrating. Once, then again, then again. She reached for it, squinting at the screen. 3 missed calls. Same number, no name, no voicemail. Her stomach tightened. This wasn't normal. Not anymore. She sat up, sheets falling to her waist, pulse quickening as she opened the messages. The first one was time-stamped 2:14 a.m. Unknown. I didn't expect you to answer last night. The second came minutes later. Unknown. But I need you to understand something before this goes any further. The third was sent just before dawn. Unknown. You're not as far removed from this as you think. Her throat went dry. This wasn't the tone of someone checking in. This was the tone of someone who knew something. She typed slowly. Her. Who is this? The response came instantly, like they'd been waiting. Unknown. You don't remember me because you weren't supposed to. Her chest tightened. She swung her legs out of bed and stood, walking toward the balcony as if space would help her breathe. The resort was waking up. Staff arranging chairs, early guests moving quietly, the illusion of peace intact. Her phone vibrated again. Unknown. You walked away before things got messy. Smart move. But the mess didn't disappear. Her fingers trembled now. Her. You have the wrong person. A pause. Then, unknown. I wish I did. She leaned against the railing. Memory stirred. Not clear images, but sensations. A meeting she hadn't planned. A conversation she hadn't finished. Paperwork she'd skimmed instead of read closely. Something she'd been advised to ignore. Her phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't text. It was an image. Her breath caught. It was a photo. Old, taken in low light, grainy, but unmistakable. It showed her, younger, sitting at a table with 3 men. One of them she recognized immediately. Her ex, the one who had contacted her weeks ago. But the other 2, her pulse thundered. She zoomed in. One man wore a watch she recognized, rare, expensive, impossible to miss. The other had his face half shadowed, but the table was clear. Documents, contracts, signatures. Her signature. Her knees went weak. She sank into the chair. Where did you get this? The typing dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Unknown. You signed something that night. Something you were told didn't matter. Her chest burned. That's not possible. Unknown. It is, and it's active. Silence pressed in around her. Active. That word changed everything. She thought back to that night, the way she'd been distracted, emotionally exhausted, trusting the person beside her. How she let him guide the conversation. How she'd signed without reading every page. Because she trusted him. Her phone vibrated again. Unknown. Your name is tied to a financial structure that was designed to stay invisible until it couldn't. Her mouth went dry. Why are you telling me this? This time the response took longer. Long enough for fear to settle deep. Unknown. Because when this breaks, your life won't be the only one affected. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. Who are you? The reply came finally. Unknown. I was hired to make sure the fallout landed quietly, but someone decided silence was no longer an option. She stared at the ocean, at the people laughing below, at the normalcy that suddenly felt fragile. And what do you want from me? 3 dots appeared, paused, then, unknown. I want you to decide which side of the truth you want to be on. Her phone vibrated again. Another image. This one newer. Recent. Her breath stopped completely. It was her ex. Standing with someone else. Someone powerful. Someone she recognized from headlines. Not by name, but by reputation. The kind of person whose problems never went public. Until they did. The final message came immediately after. Unknown. You meeting him again wasn't a coincidence. Her blood ran cold. Unknown. And neither was this trip. She dropped the phone onto the table like it had burned her. Everything snapped into place at once. The timing, the messages, the sudden reappearance, the chance encounter. She wasn't running into the past. The past was catching up. Her phone vibrated one last time. Unknown. We meet tonight. If you don't show, the next message won't be private. She looked out at the ocean again. It looked the same, but now she understood something crucial. The real story hadn't started with romance. It started with a secret, and whatever she decided next, there was no version of this where she walked away clean. She didn't even make it back inside before the next message hit. Unknown, stop standing on the balcony. Her blood turned cold. She spun around. No one stood behind her. Her heart slammed hard against her ribs as she typed. How do you know where I am? 3 seconds passed, then, unknown, because you're not as invisible as you think. Her phone buzzed again before she could breathe. Unknown, and because someone else is already watching you. That was enough. She grabbed her bag, slid her feet into sandals, and left the room without locking the door. The hallway felt longer than it had earlier, the carpet swallowing the sound of her steps. Every person she passed felt suspicious now. Too quiet, too slow, too interested. The elevator door slid shut. Her reflection stared back at her. Jaw tight, eyes sharp, fear turning into focus. The phone vibrated again. Unknown. Good, you're moving. Her pulse spiked. What do you want from me? Unknown. I want you alive. The elevator dinged. Lobby, too open, too many exits, too many places to disappear. She stepped outside anyway. Heat hit her instantly. Music thumped from somewhere near the pool. Tourists laughed, drinks clinked. Normal life. Meanwhile, hers was unraveling in real time. Unknown, walk left, don't turn around. She obeyed. Her instincts were screaming now, adrenaline sharpening everything. The smell of sunscreen, the scrape of sandals on stone, the weight of eyes she couldn't see. Who is following me? Unknown, the people who thought you were harmless. Her stomach dropped. Harmless to what? No answer. Instead, another message came through, an image. Live. Security footage. Her. From behind, walking. Someone else entered the frame. A man. Tall, dark clothes. Baseball cap pulled low. He wasn't rushing. He didn't need to. She stopped walking. Her phone buzzed immediately. Unknown. Do not stop. Too late, she turned. The man froze. Their eyes met. Recognition flickered across his face. Not surprise. Confirmation. He reached into his pocket. She ran. People shouted as she shoved past them, heart hammering, lungs burning. She knocked over a chair, heard glass shatter, didn't look back. Unknown. Pool gate. Now. She veered hard, slipped on wet stone, barely caught herself. The gate was half closed. She slammed through it and sprinted toward the beach. Sand slowed her down. The man was closer now, too close. She felt fingers brush her arm, then chaos exploded. A hand grabbed her wrist and yanked her sideways. She screamed. The man chasing her crashed into someone else, stumbled, cursed. She was dragged behind a cabana, pinned. Her breath punched out of her as a voice hissed near her ear. Relax if you want to keep breathing. She froze. The man holding her was not the one who chased her. This one was older, sharper. His grip hurt, but it wasn't frantic. It was controlled. He let go slowly, keeping his body between her and the beach. You're lucky, he said. You were 5 seconds from disappearing. Her legs shook. Who are you? She demanded. He smirked slightly. The person who tried to clean up your mess. Her phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then back at her. So, he said calmly, you finally remembered you signed your name onto something worth killing over. Her blood drained from her face. What did I sign? She whispered. He leaned closer. A shell company that launders money for people who don't lose. Her ears rang. That's impossible, she said. You were the front, he replied. The clean face, the perfect distraction. She shook her head. No, I would have known, he laughed once. You trusted the wrong man. Her ex. Everything snapped together. The sudden success, the lifestyle, the urgency, the documents. The man's expression hardened. He thought you'd stay quiet forever, he continued. But now someone thinks you're a liability. A scream echoed nearby. Security whistles blew. The man cursed under his breath. Listen carefully, he said, gripping her arm again. You have two choices. Which are? She demanded. Run, Run and be hunted, he said, or work with me and flip this whole operation. She swallowed. And if I say no? He looked her dead in the eye. Then tonight won't be the scariest thing that happens to you. Sirens wailed in the distance. He released her and disappeared into the crowd. Just like that. She stood there shaking, sand clinging to her legs, heart trying to beat out of her chest. Her phone buzzed one last time. Unknown. Now you understand. Call me when you're ready to survive. She stared at the screen. No romance, no comfort, no safety net. Just one truth ringing loud in her chest. Her life wasn't slowing down. It was accelerating into something dangerous, and the adventure had officially begun. By the time she reached the far end of the resort, her lungs burned and her legs trembled, but she didn't stop. The rain blurred the path ahead, palm trees bending violently in the wind as thunder cracked overhead. Every instinct screamed that whatever had been set in motion tonight wasn't finished, not even close. She ducked behind a service building, pressing her back against the cold concrete wall, forcing herself to slow her breathing. Her phone vibrated again. This time the message wasn't vague. Unknown. You shouldn't have run. Her heart dropped. She wiped rain from the screen with shaking fingers, scanning the darkness beyond the narrow alleyway. Footsteps echoed nearby, not rushed, not frantic. Measured, controlled. Whoever it was, they weren't panicking. They knew exactly where she was headed. She typed quickly. Her. Who are you? What do you want from me? The response came instantly. Unknown. What was taken doesn't belong to you, and you're not as invisible as you think. Her stomach tightened. Taken? She hadn't stolen anything, at least not intentionally. The realization crept in slowly, chilling her more than the rain ever could. This wasn't random. This wasn't a mistake. Someone believed she had something, and they were willing to cross borders to get it back. A shadow passed at the mouth of the alley. She held her breath. The figure paused, just long enough to confirm what she feared, then disappeared again, as if deliberately giving her space, as if the chase was only part of the message. She moved again, slipping out the opposite side, weaving through narrow resort pathways until she reached the beach. Waves crashed violently against the shore, moonlight flickering between thick clouds. The ocean stretched endlessly in front of her, beautiful, dangerous, unforgiving. Her phone buzzed once more. Unknown. You have 48 hours. That was it. No explanation, no threat spelled out. But she understood anyway. 48 hours to figure out what she was tangled in. 48 hours before running wouldn't be enough. She backed away from the shoreline, sand soaking into her shoes, and headed toward the lights of the main resort. Every smiling face, every laughing couple now felt staged, artificial, like she was moving through a carefully constructed illusion. Back in her room, she locked the door, slid the deadbolt into place, and checked the balcony twice before finally allowing herself to breathe. Her hands shook as she replayed the messages, reading between every line, every pause. Then something stood out. The sender wasn't just reacting, they were anticipating. That meant surveillance, preparation, resources, which meant this wasn't a lone threat. This was an operation. Her phone buzzed again, but this time the number was different. Unknown. No contact photo. She hesitated, then answered. "Stop running," a calm male voice said, low and controlled. "You're not built for it." Her pulse spiked. "You're the one sending the messages?" "No," he replied. "I'm the one keeping you alive." Silence stretched between them, thick with mistrust. "You don't know me," she said. "I know enough," he answered, "and I know what they think you have." Her grip tightened on the phone. "Then tell me." A pause, just long enough to feel intentional. "Not over the phone," he said, "and not here." Her heart hammered. "Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't," he replied. "But if you stay in that room tonight, they'll come through the balcony. If you leave the country tomorrow, you might still have a chance." She swallowed hard. "And you?" "I'll be nearby," he said, "whether you like it or not." The line went dead. She stood there in the quiet, rain still tapping against the glass, the weight of everything settling in all at once. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about exposure, about truth, about something buried deep enough that powerful people didn't want it resurfacing. She looked down at her suitcase, then at her passport, and for the first time, she understood something clearly. Running alone would get her caught, but partnering with the wrong person could change everything, for better or worse. She didn't know his name yet, didn't know his face, didn't even know if he was telling the truth. But one thing was certain now. This wasn't ending at the resort. This wasn't ending in the same country, and it definitely wasn't ending without consequences. She zipped her suitcase shut. Whatever was coming next, she was already in it. Spring sat on the edge of the bed, her phone heavy in her hand, heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. The resort was quiet now, the storm finally moving out, but the silence felt dangerous, like the calm before something violent. Her phone vibrated. Unknown. "You've been running from the wrong thing." Spring exhaled sharply and typed back. "Spring." "Then say it. Say what he wants." The response came immediately. "Unknown. The money." Her fingers froze. A memory she hadn't allowed herself to touch in years cracked open. The job, the team, him. Her phone rang before she could respond. She answered without thinking. "You hit it exactly where he told you to," the man on the other end said calmly. "Didn't you?" Spring's breath caught. "Yes," she said, "every dollar." Silence followed, heavy, deliberate. "That's the problem," he replied. Her chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "He thinks you took it," the man said. "He thinks you disappeared with his cut." Spring stood up slowly. "That's impossible. He set the location, the account, the country." "I know," the man said. "But after you vanished, the trail went cold. No access, no movement, no sign of you." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "So he assumed I betrayed him." Yes. The truth hit her all at once. Her former partner, the one person she never expected to come looking, had finally resurfaced. Not to negotiate, to collect. "He's been searching for years," the man continued. "But you were careful, too careful. No digital footprint, no patterns." Spring laughed once, hollow. "So why now?" "Because you slipped," he said. "This trip, this resort, this booking." Her stomach dropped. "He didn't find you," the man added. "I did." Spring closed her eyes. "So you're what, a fixer?" "No," he said. "I'm the cleanup he failed to kill." That made her open her eyes. "You and I," he continued, "worked the same contracts, different teams, same world. I've been tracking him longer than you've been hiding. Spring's pulse raced. Then why protect me? Because if he gets you, the man said flatly, he'll never stop. And because that money is still exactly where you left it. She swallowed hard. I never touched it. I know, he said, but he doesn't. Spring paced the room now, adrenaline flooding her system. So what does he want? She asked. To force you to lead him to it, the man replied, or punish you for keeping it from him. Her jaw clenched. He trained me. He knows how I think. Yes, the man said, which is why he's escalating. Spring stopped pacing. That wasn't a warning chase tonight, was it? No, he said, that was confirmation. She looked at her suitcase by the door. So what now? She asked. You leave the country, he said. Not where the money is. Somewhere unexpected. And you? She asked. I stay close, he replied. Because if he realizes you didn't steal from him, he'll decide you're more useful alive. Her breath caught. And if he doesn't, then I make sure he never reaches you, the man said calmly. The weight of her past finally settled fully in her chest. She hadn't escaped that life. She'd only delayed the bill. Spring walked to the balcony and stared out at the dark water, her reflection staring back at her. Older, sharper, no longer pretending. So this is really happening, she said. Yes, he replied. And whether you like it or not, we're partners now. The call ended. Spring zipped her bag with steady hands, not because she wasn't afraid, but because she finally understood the rules again. Someone from her past was coming. The money was still hidden, and the only way forward wasn't running. It was surviving long enough to face him. Or, the truth was, Spring hadn't always been running. Once, she had been chosen. She remembered the first night clearly, the private elevator, the rooftop suite overlooking a foreign city that glittered like a crown of diamonds. That was where she met him, her ex-partner. He wasn't loud or flashy. He didn't need to be. Power followed him quietly, like gravity. He spoke softly, calculated every word, and watched people the way predators watched prey, patient, curious, certain. She had been brought in as a consultant at first. That was the lie. Strategy, logistics, clean exits. She was too smart not to notice the weapons, too observant not to understand what kind of organization paid in offshore accounts and never asked for receipts. By the time the truth surfaced, she was already indispensable. They worked as a unit, precision, timing, execution. He handled contact, she handled planning, and above them all sat the boss. A man who never appeared in public, never raised his voice, but owned entire floors of hotels, fleets of black cars, and people who vanished without explanation. Working for him meant access to luxury villas, private jets, jewelry slipped across marble tables like tips. Spring had lived beautifully, silk sheets, foreign cities, champagne that cost more than cars. She wore gowns to events where politicians smiled beside criminals and no one asked questions. And through it all, her partner had trusted her. Enough to hand her the money. The final job. Hide it, he'd said. Different country, untouchable, insurance. She had done exactly what she was told. Then she walked away. No goodbyes, no explanations. Because somewhere along the way, the thrill died. The contracts blurred together, the target stopped feeling distant, and when she looked in the mirror one night, really looked, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. That was when she met Darius. He wasn't dangerous. He wasn't powerful. He was safe. He laughed easily, asked about her day, spoke about the future like it was something real instead of borrowed time. He wanted a house with windows that stayed open, morning routines, children whose lives wouldn't be written in shadows. For the first time, Spring imagined a life that didn't require exits. She tried, she really did. But peace doesn't erase the past, it only quiets it. And now, standing alone in a foreign resort with her phone lighting up the darkness, she realized something she'd been avoiding for years. You can leave the game, but the game doesn't always leave you. Her mind drifted back to Darius, the last argument they had before this trip. The distance she hadn't been able to explain. The way he looked at her like he was already losing her. "You keep disappearing," he'd said, "and every time you come back, you're farther away." He had wanted kids. She had wanted time. Now she had neither. Her phone buzzed again, not with a threat, with instructions. She listened carefully as the man's voice guided her through what came next. New routes, new names, new rules. His tone was calm, assured, confident in a way that unsettled her. He was dangerous too. Just disciplined, just controlled, and undeniably handsome, even through a voice alone. This man knew her past and didn't flinch, didn't judge, didn't ask her to be something softer or smaller. He understood the weight she carried and still chose to stand between her and the man hunting her. Spring exhaled slowly. Her life had split in two. The future she almost had with Darius, and the reality she could no longer avoid. Protection wasn't freedom, but it was survival. And until the past was settled, until the money, the betrayal, and the man who believed she stole from him were dealt with, there would be no quiet life, no normal love, no clean slate, only movement, only strategy, only choices that came with consequences. Spring closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the softness was gone. Whatever life waited on the other side of this storm, she would have to earn it.